Take a look at this. Zero Breeze sent me out their new ElecHive portable power station. It's 2500 watt-hour, 2200 watt inverter, 20 amp max, continuous, with a 4400 watt surge. It's NMC chemistry, lithium nickel manganese cobalt oxide. Try to say that 5 times fast. It's only 40 pounds, which is something I noticed right away taking out of the box. There's the dimensions for you. Very tiny. A 2500 watt-hour battery coming in at 40 pounds. Something I noticed right off the bat was when I put this next to my Blue Eddy battery. That's a big difference. And keep in mind, the ElecHive is 2500 watt-hours and the Blue Eddy is 2048 watt-hours. 40 pounds on the ElecHive side and almost 62 pounds on the Blue Eddy side. The big difference here is the ElecHive is NMC chemistry and the Blue Eddy is lithium iron phosphate chemistry. You can get online and read about those two chemistries. There's some big differences between the two. There are pros and cons to each, so it's best to do some research on both and any other chemistries that are out there and find a battery that works best for you and your situation. For me, the ElecHive gets a point right away for form factor and ease of moving around at 40 pounds and 2500 watt-hours. The NMC has higher energy density, so they can pack more power into a small package. Zero Breeze told me they also went with NMC because it's more stable during discharge, and it's also better operating in low temperatures. These are all factors that your average van lifer or mobile user definitely needs to consider. And did I mention how small this is at 40 pounds? That got me thinking, so I took my battery outside and, yep, this battery fits inside of a motorcycle top box. That's crazy. Motorcycle glamping, anyone? 2500 watt-hour battery in a motorcycle top box. Now, cycle life changes between the different chemistries. The manual I got says there's 1,000 cycles on the ElecHive battery before it drops to 80% capacity. But I contacted them to confirm this, and they said the manual I got was an original printing from the development process, and their battery supplier has tweaked the chemistry a bit, and now they are showing that they're getting 2,000 cycles out of these batteries before dropping to 80% capacity. And that will be reflected in the new manuals that are going out to customers now. So it's definitely a difference, but when you do the math, the ElecHive for most consumers is going to last years with normal use, before ever seeing a reduction in capacity. So let's say you drained your ElecHive 3 times a week. 52 weeks in a year times 3 days a week is 156 days. You'll be draining that every year. 2,000 cycles divided by 156 days is 12.8 years of use at that frequency before you see it drop to 80% capacity. If you drain your batteries every day all year long, it's something to think about. If not, I'm going with a battery I can move around without grunting. So let's take a tour. Here's the power button, LCD screen. It's a simple display but tells you everything you need to know: power in, power out, capacity, how long it's going to last at the given load, etc. That's the AC button for the AC inverter. There's the DC power button with an indicator there on the screen. And you can hear the fans turned on when the AC inverter came on. You have 4 20 amp AC outlets, and that's a 2200 watt 20 amp continuous inverter and 4400 watt surge. Up here you have a 5521 barrel connector for DC out. This is a popular barrel connector size. You can also buy those online and make your own cables. You have an Anderson out right here. This has a lot of Anderson connectors on it, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but I love Anderson because you can make whatever you want out of them easily and cheaply. You have 2 USB-C connectors. One is full PD in and out. 100 watt max, 5 amp on the PD outlet. 2 other USB connectors. All of these rubber covers seem to sit really nice and tight on these connectors and keep them protected. There's a closer look at the screen and all the information you get out of that. Over on this side, you have a couple ventilation fans. There's 2 fans on each side. It looks like this thing can move a lot of air through it. On the back, you have an auto sleep switch. If that's on, the unit will shut off if after an hour your draw is really low. If you have it off, it will wait 12 hours before it shuts off with low draw. Here you have a charging port. This is up to 1250 watts, 30 to 75 volts, a 240 watt, which is 12 to 30 volts, and a charge-discharge button. This lets you flip a switch and it will only charge up to 90%. According to Zero Breeze, if you keep it on 90%, it will add 20% to the lifespan of the battery. So if you're not needing that maximum capacity all the time there, you can just have it charge up to 90%. And you'll see the configuration of these Anderson ports. This is a great feature of this battery, is they have all of the Anderson ports in different configurations, so you can't go plugging an Anderson plug into a port that won't accept what you're plugging into it, if that makes any sense. Back onto the other side, you have two more ventilation fans. On the top, there's this lip around the outside, and on the bottom, it's beveled. I don't know this to be the case, but it sure seems like they designed this to be able to stack this on something or stack something on this, or stack batteries together. On the bottom, you've got some rubberized feet. Here's a look at all the stickers on the unit. You can pause it and read them all if you want to look at all the specs. This does not come with it, but they sent me one of these to test out. This is the 1250 watt wall charger. Apparently, this will charge up the unit from dead to full in around 2.5 hours. That is super fast. And speaking of those different Anderson configurations, so this is configured in a way that you can only plug it into the 1250 watt input. So everything is foolproof. And all of the ports have protections in place, so if you were to make your own Anderson cable and plug it into something it shouldn't be, there's protections on all of these ports to keep you from frying the battery. And here is the best output of all if you have a Mark II air conditioner. They've included a dedicated 24-volt out port on the front of the ElecHive. If you've got a Mark II and you're looking for a big battery to power it, this is great news. If you no longer need a DC converter to step up your 12-volt battery to 24 volts, you can just plug a single cable right into this 24-volt output and plug it right into the back of the Mark II, and you have straight 24-volt DC power from the battery right to the air conditioner. It's cold in here, so it's not drawing a lot of power, but I can't wait till it warms up again and I can really test this thing out. See how long the air conditioner will run on this 2500 watt hours without running it through a converter. Even though it's cold, that's still a very low power draw. I can't wait for it to heat up so I can really test this out. You can plug that output right into the back of your battery power dock, charge up your batteries. And 24 volts is 24 volts. If you have anything else that runs off of 24 volts, plug it right into that port. According to the manual, that is a 24 volt, 500 watt, 25 amp max port. And as I said, the best part is, you don't need one of these anymore to convert your 12 volt battery up to 24 volts to run the air conditioner. That's the best part. And again, you've got a completely different configuration for this 24 volt out port, so you can't go plugging anything 12 volt into it on accident. If you make your own cables, as long as you build it correctly, you can't go messing anything up, because everything is different. If you see my other videos, you know that I'm a fan of these Anderson connectors. They're a very small form factor. You can design them into any configuration you want, like I showed you on the battery. They go up to 45 amps of power. I've used them up to 10 gauge wire. Pretty sure you can jam some 8 gauge in there if you find the right wire. And they're keyed all the way around, so you can attach them to each other in any configuration you need to match any of these ports or any other ports. You just turn them in the right configuration and slide the little dovetails together, and then put the ends on the wire and shove them in there until they click. You've got your own cable. And they're universal. You don't have to buy all these crazy proprietary plug-ins that other companies use. You can stuff this ElecHive away in a ventilated cabinet somewhere, and then put remote Anderson connectors on the outsides of cabinets for your in or out, and just have umbilicals running all over the place for a few bucks a piece. You do need a special crimper for those Anderson ends. They sell one, but I just bought an aftermarket one. It works fine. The manual, as with all Zero Breeze products, is actually very helpful. There's a lot of great information in here, all the stuff that I need to know as an owner. And for you English speakers, this is actually written in English and not in gibberish as some product manuals are often written in. Under specifications, they got very detailed charts of all the outputs and inputs, so they run down every single one of the ports, tells you all the input and output voltage, amperage parameters, then it lists all of the protections: overload, overcurrent, short circuit, over temp, low temp, and then there's notes on all of them. They tell you what the output is regulated to in voltage, what happens if you put too much current into the port. It's a bunch of great information. Also helps you in troubleshooting if anything goes wrong with your devices. I think I went over most of the battery specs, but here they are again. 2500 watt hours, NMC chemistry. Recharge from 14 to 104 Fahrenheit. That's negative 10 to 40 Celsius. Operating temperature, negative 4 to 104 Fahrenheit, negative 20 to 40 Celsius. Shelf life is more than 2 years after fully charged. Now this says 1,000 cycles down to 80% capacity, but as I said earlier in the video, this is a original manual from development, and that's now 2,000 cycles. And this is good stuff starting here. This is all about charging and how to charge the battery back up. So this starts out with solar panel configuration. So it literally goes through every combination of solar panel and charging you can come up with. They also sent me a couple of their 100 watt panels, which I'll review later. Excellent quality. I can't wait to start testing all this stuff out. I've tested everything out a little bit, but once it starts warming up, I'll really be able to get down and dirty with everything and give it a run through. So in the manual, it breaks down how to charge the battery back up, whether you have 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4 panel, and it just keeps going all the way up to 12 panels. It also breaks down whether or not you should wire them in series or parallel, and which plug to use and how to plug it into the ElecHive, whether you're running series or parallel. It's just got everything you need to know to efficiently recharge this thing. So for example, I've got the 2 100 watt solar panel kit. So when you get the 2 panel kit, they send you the cable that's configured with the Anderson connector to go into the high charge input. Actually, it's called fast charge because these 2 100 watt panels wired in series crosses that 30 volt input voltage threshold. So as long as you're within the input voltage parameters, series is the way to go with this because it allows you to use smaller gauge cables because your amperage is lower. And you can also get longer runs out of your extension cords. Where I'm going with this is it's all laid out in the manual. Depending on how many panels you have, it tells you how to wire it in series or parallel in the diagrams, and it tells you what input port that you need to use for each given arrangement of solar panels and whether it's wired in parallel or series. So if you're new to all of this, again, foolproof. Tells you exactly what to use and how to use it. And I did confirm if you buy a single 100 watt panel, they send you the Anderson configuration to plug it into the normal charge port, which is going to be below 30 volts input. And like I have, if you buy the 2 100 watt panel kit, they send you the correct cable to plug into the correct port on the inputs on the back. And if it doesn't come with something like the parallel connectors, the diagram will at least let you know what you need to acquire. So for example, if I want to wire my 2 panels in series and plug into the fast charging port, which is the cable they sent me, I'm going to plug one positive from one panel into the negative of the second panel. Then I'm going to plug the remaining positive and negative cables off of each panel into the connector. Just like that. Now I have 2 panels wired in series, just like the diagram. And that gets plugged into the fast charge port. Super simple. It also comes with this plug here. This is the cigarette lighter charging plug. Right in the manual, it tells you this would be a 120 watt input right into this port, the normal charge port, and would take around 26 hours to charge from dead. The standard power supply, the one it comes with, 240 watt max charge, takes around 11 hours to charge it up. Definitely something you can do overnight with the included charger, wall charger. They also offer a 600-watt charger you can buy. It'll charge the battery up in about 5 hours. And then you have the 1250-watt power supply they sent me that will charge the battery from 0 to 90% in 2 hours, fully charged in 2.5 hours. That's really fast. The form factor of this 1250-watt charger is very small, very light and small. It's not much bigger than the standard charger it came with. Something else I learned in my email exchange with Zero Breeze is that both of these input ports are MPPT. So as long as you are within the voltage parameters for your solar panel input, these ports will take care of taking whatever you're piping into it and making it charge the batteries as efficiently as possible. They also suggest only using their wall chargers when plugging into these ports, as they designed all of their wall chargers to work nicely with these MPPT inputs. It also comes with a 12-volt cigarette lighter type of output, which gets plugged into the front side Anderson port, and that has a 300-watt max output. The warranty, according to the manual, is 12 months, and also according to the manual, it looks like it is transferable to subsequent owners. And the subsequent owner just needs some type of proof of purchase from the original owner for a warranty claim. And that's about it for the manual. Oh, except for this on the back. This is kind of cool. Scan this QR code and it takes you to the Zero Breeze YouTube page. And you can learn all you need to know about Zero Breeze products. But if you're still watching this, you know everything you need to know about the ElecHive. That's about it. Thanks for watching. I'll get some more videos out, if they're not out already, about the solar panel and the fast charger. Do some runtime tests on the air conditioner, and see if this lives up to the specs. I'm always happy to promote products that impress me. This is just yet another one from Zero Breeze. Good job.